seconds because I know sometimes I'm even talking right now, Len, when I'm anticipating we'll go live while I'm in mid sentence, and that's okay. But tell me when we're live, or you think we're live.
It's loading. Yeah, it says we're live.
Okay, I'll give it another couple of seconds because that's not always the case when we go live. It might be a little bit of a delay. So if you're watching right now, we are live for the Make It Rain podcast. I'm Trevor Crane. This is Nancy Lucas. This is not the official intro, though. I'll do that in a second. But Len, you think we're live and good to go?
Yes. Sorry.
That's okay. I guess you were on mute. So, okay. Well, then we're ready to get this party started. Let me do this. Welcome to Make It Rain. This is I'm Trevor Crane, and on this show we ask two big questions. What's the dream, and how did you do it? And today I have the good fortune to have Nancy Lucas with me. Say hi, Nancy.
Hey, glad to be here, Trevor.
I'm excited to have you here too. And I'm excited to share with you a little bit of what Nancy's dream is and what she's going to accomplish because I've been working with her on her new book and we've made some pivots over the last few months. We've been working together. So Nancy, talk to me. What's the dream? What are your goals with the new book? Like who's it for? Paint me a picture.
I'm super excited because it's for women by women in real estate. Of the top 20 books in real estate on how you make your millions, only two are written by women. So I really wanted women's voices out there on how do they do well in real estate, especially, with a market that fluctuates. And as women, we also often have caregiving and families to raise. So what does that look like too in the mix?
I love it. And I've got a teenager that's stalking me right now with some coffee. So
Just a little bit. I mean, too
Yay.
much.
okay.
You
Yes,
want
I would
coffee?
love to. But I am in the middle of a live podcast. 18-year-old teenager. Yes, hold on. Thank you. I would have had it black, but that's phenomenal. Thank you. Thank you. That was Phoenix Rose Crane, by the way. Um, so Nancy, apparently I have a new sugary coffee. I can't wait for it. But Nancy, I have your link on the screen here, and this is going to be a QR code, so anybody can scan this with your phone or go to epic.media/Nancy Lucas. And Nancy, I want to invite everybody here to get on your waiting list for your new book, so that when you release this, that people can be notified and up to date with maybe joining any of the what do we call it? The inner circle with you while you're launching this book, because we've gone through different. Talk to me about like who this book is for, so someone would know why they would want to follow you and be part of this. You mentioned women in real estate, so who would be interested in this book?
Well, my imagination is women pick real estate for the flexibility of time. Some of us pick education, some of us pick, maybe grant work or just something that has flexible time to do from home. Maybe it's medical billing. I don't know what, but it's
Well,
something
and
that is not.
money. I mean, in real estate, I mean, a lot of realtors don't make that kind of money, but I think the promise is you can make a lot of money in a short period of time.
Yeah, where it's not based on hours. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly it. So, what I wanted to touch in the book is what does that look like? And how, even though you think you're making great money in real estate, what if you're leaving half of it on the table? There's a big secret people don't know about in the industry. And I just want to expose that and make it possible that for mothers to be funded. There's also, I think it's something like 53 million Americans are caregivers for adults. And that was my situation. I got to take care of my mother and also my father at the end of their life. And what kind of career supports you when you have to run to the hospital and go to the VA and do the doctor's appointments and take care of the house and also kids? What kind of career or job would support you in that? And are you really earning the most that you could out of this season?
Well, and why don't we get into the why this is important then? And you just touched on a few things, like what was the impetus for you to go into this in the first place? And you just mentioned some personal things about family, so and how you were positioned to take care of them in different situations. So, why is this important to you?
I was married for 12 years, and the end of the marriage, the last 3 years were pretty rough and included a couple of seasons of being homeless with four children. I made great friends in the process and discovered some other states. I mean, I made an adventure out of it. And literally, my goal was to show my children how to have fun every day so that they didn't really feel deeply what was happening. But the reality was, it came from a family being underfunded. We were both educated. So there's no reason two educated people should not have enough to make it go. Except I did have a season of being disabled and we did have our kids quickly together, quick back to back. So I just would love every other mother on the planet to never have to go through what I went through, that no matter the condition of their marriage or if they're single, that what they're earning, whether it's in real estate or a real estate plus program, that they can, if they're early, save their money so that they can take a few years off and just be mom. Or if they're mid career, take on this multiplier. And if they're, later career, they can start stockpiling money to support their kids and grandkids during their earning season. So it's a trajectory for me, a lifespan that I would love to see women just more empowered around their money so that we can support the life cycle of our families.
Well, and you had different experiences where you were taken out of the full-time business mode human. Uh, and you had different times, like when you were married or coming out of that, and then having to take care of your parents or take care of your kids, where you didn't have that full-time that you could put towards your profession because you had to go ahead and put love and connection and family first. So it sounds like there were different times in your life that you were, when you talked about your kids just now, I was thinking of how Will Smith in the movie
Oh,
Pursuit of Happiness, where he was trying to give his son a happier perspective of what was going on when he was really struggling in the movie. He was like, found a bathroom when he was homeless that he could go ahead and have like a roof over their head, and he made it into a fun game. And I got emotional actually thinking about you having gone through that with your kids. Nancy, be specific. How many kids were you traveling with
or
in home? Four?
or the youngest one was in diapers. Like we literally used his diaper box as our kitchen table for meals.
Okay. How long were you going through that with that?
That particular season was 3 months. I had been aggravated enough in my relationship that I just looked at my husband and I said, when you have a home and you have a second job and you have money in the bank, I might come back to you. And I looked at the kids and I said, go pack 2 Sunday dresses and 5 days of clothes. Get in the car.
Whoa, that's insane.
It
And
was.
then And then when you're on full-time mommy duty like that, or the times you were on full-time caregiver for mom and or dad, how much time was that leaving for you to be able to do professional things?
In and I'll call it the homeless era, there was no I could do part-time gig like writing from home.
Hmm.
That I could do. I called it my laptop hobo season. Like the dad was in the hotel room with the kids. We spent the last 9 months of our marriage in a hotel room. So I call that my laptop hobo era. And I would go to Starbucks and I would work. I actually finished my master's degree at that time. And then so I didn't really do enough work, obviously, to get us out of the pickle we were in. But I was able to apply for a job. And if I'd gotten that job, I could have been head of household. But I was already in my mid 40s by then. And so much younger women were, stronger candidates, if you will. And so that they did go with postgraduate students, which made sense for the industry that it was in the space. But it didn't matter. I kept hitting that over and over and over,
Kept hitting what?
and hitting the wall of like they don't want to pay that money for somebody my age. So I think maybe other women have experienced this ageism, and I ended up in some really great technology companies
Hmm.
because they're great at their technology, but I delivered proven paths to building the company and building the revenue. And I happened to know the people, so I didn't get weeded out by the resume process. They were relationships. So I was given some really phenomenal opportunities. But even that, they were startups, so I was underfunded in that season. I was willing to do the work on the hope of equity in the company. So that was a learning curve. But
And when
those
you get
days,
equity in a company that doesn't become anything, is this what my guess is? That's a whole bunch of nothing.
that was a learning curve.
So what we're talking about here is the situation you went through when you were trying to figure out how you can go ahead and build. And you're saying we're talking about a time of your life when you said this is what you're hoping other women don't have to go through,
Correct.
and the lessons and things. So let's do this again. I want to take a step back and I want to talk about who you're trying to help now, because I asked you probing questions about why this is important to you, and we're talking about the dramas and the baloney that you had to go through in your 40s with 4 kids and whatnot, and a husband that things weren't going well with, it sounds like, and he wasn't helping you make it rain in any way. It sounds like here. I don't know. I don't
He
want to
was
throw him
doing
under
what
the
he
bus.
could,
Yeah.
with all respect.
So and I put up the QR code and then the link that we have here. Go to epic.media/Nancy Lucas. Nancy, who are you trying to help right now? And is it somebody going through some of that stuff, or is it a different avatar that you're looking to have this book serve?
No, they are professional women who want flexibility of their time, and the time that they do invest professionally pays back at a multiplier. We
Okay.
can go work for an hour, we can go work for a gig cost, or we can go work for a gig cost with a multiplier. So I want to support the women who they're professional, they want to put time in, but they also want to prioritize. Like I had to, not had to, I got to be a caregiver for my mother, and I got to be a caregiver for my dad, but I also had children that, were in school and needed things changing. So it was balancing between these two. And that's where a career in financial services panned out. But what I discovered in the process is, moving to a new town, I would ask some realtor friends of mine, hey, can we have lunch? I'd like to get to know the area. They literally didn't have money to go to lunch because they were between a peak in their sales. They have spikes in their sales and then they have a drought. But that drought even means they will say no to lunch. So if if that's happening, they should look at a prospect with a multiplier.
And so let's talk about what that means, because it sounds like you got out of their situation with the financial services industry, but you also are now pivoting to real estate, and those are the women that you're hoping to help. And it sounds like real estate is at the multiplier. Like, what do you mean by multiplier?
So realtors are already working with families and they already have a high trust. So to add a financial conversation is just an easy flow. But the way the financial services pays is it levels out the playing field month over month. Instead of having a spike and a drought and a spike and a drought, it's a consistent flow for a realtor. And so instead of earning maybe 24,000, it actually could be twice that. And then you're already doing that one layer of work. Just
So
starting another
hold on a
conversation
second.
can double.
I think I'm just figuring out what you're talking about. Correct me if I'm wrong. And this is a pivot that maybe I didn't understand before. So you want to work with females in real estate, and you're going to try to combine the multiplier, which is some financial services, because they already have trust. So that's the multiplier. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, and they should at least know about it.
Okay, so what
So
you're doing is you're okay. So a realtor, so the problem was realtors get this one-time sale, like you said. So what is it, between 4 and 6% on a typical real estate deal? Or if they're sharing it with somebody, they're going to get their 2 to 3% if they're sharing the
right.
commission. Okay, and so and that's the feast or famine. And my mom was a realtor, and she always had something under escrow. And it seems like if she had 4 houses under escrow, one would close, and that was 75% didn't. I don't know if that's the number, but this is my recollection. And you're just saying if they already have that trust, this is a way that they can go ahead and better serve their client, who's this family, because you just said that a lot of homeowners are family owners or have families, and then they can provide financial services for them as well.
Yeah, and they also work with business owners. So there's a lot in the financial world that business owners don't know about either. So having the conversation and making an introduction is just one layer, one other idea. And so those are the stories that we built into the book where did you know these layers were available?
That's awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about like what are some of your target goals for the next 90 days to a year, Because what I want to do, Nancy, is invite you back when you make this magic happen. And in the first 90 days that we've been connected, we had an idea for an avatar and a book title and things. And I know you were frustrated because you went out and you found that our theory didn't pan out, whatever that was at the time. And we don't have to get into that detail right here, but I'm pointing that out because kudos to you for having taken action to try to validate your message in the marketplace, which is what you did. And you said, Trevor, I don't like that avatar or that thing. It didn't work out as well as I wanted to. I'm going to go in this different direction, which is often the case when I help a new author launch their things, is I'm trying to help you create momentum with that message before we write the book. Thank God we didn't do that yet. But if you were to look at the next 90 days to 100 days and then where your goals are for the next year, what are some, because I want to have you like clarify this dream, and then we can have you back having shown how you made it happen.
Yeah, thank you. I think the dream is to get invitations to me, or I have 46,000 other partners in the business that I can reach out to. So it doesn't matter what state, but engaging in a financial services professional that has the right model and the broker opens. So inviting somebody to a broker open from a financial perspective, that would be one thing. Speaking at any kind of
So let me
realtor
let me let me make sure
conference.
I understand what that means. One of the wins would be if you found one person that you can invite to a broker open. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, or that I would be invited to a broker open as the financial services representative.
So you have the opportunity. So you'd want to celebrate that you have a new partnership then, where you're either the financial services partner or something, and you're introduced, or you have someone else like one of your female mentees that you're going to be working with that want that time freedom and the money multiplier. I'm trying to understand this right. But if you just have one win with that, then that's going to be something that you want to report back.
Yeah, and I was actually thinking like a real estate office does a broker open where all the agents come in
Oh, so you're
and
not
somebody
looking at
from
one
our
human, you're looking at the brokerage. So you're looking to partner with a brokerage. So real estate brokerage?
or a realtor, but the broker would make sense because they understand the business model.
Okay,
So an
cool. So hold on.
invitation,
This is cool because I want to make sure anybody watching right now knows who you can connect Nancy with. So describe the broker, because if you were to get one connection here, you'd rather have be a phenomenal realtor, which would be amazing, or would you rather have be a broker that has a whole bunch of phenomenal realtors that they work with?
the broker, because they'll talk broker to broker in our industry. It
Okay.
just makes sense. Broker to
Okay.
broker, they understand it.
And how many? I know that I recommend that you interview your core avatar here. So how many interviews have you done so far with people who run brokerage that have a real estate brokerage?
I think I've done like 40 interviews, and I would say a
Mm-hmm.
good six, seven, eight.
Okay.
But one of them was ideal. She literally wants her agents to build long-term wealth.
Okay.
She didn't want to just lead them through real estate. She wanted them to
Mm.
understand wealth building.
And so
She's
what?
ideal.
And how many realtors did they have? You said this is an ideal
She has
person.
five.
So five. So what I don't know the size of normal brokerages. So how many realtors is ideal for, or like describe this intro, because I want to make sure you have clarity so we can go find it. And if anybody's watching or listening to the replay or seeing a short here, they know who to connect you with. Who's this perfect brokerage owner?
So the perfect brokerage owner is somebody who's open-minded, and some of the some of the box labels fit and some box labels don't. So maybe a private broker would be able to move forward faster and get it faster. I would say they have 10 strong realtors working under them because they'll have 40 or 50 or 60 in their office. One of the offices I talked to had like 130, but they'd never even seen 20 of them. So, you want 10 to 20 good runners in your agency because that'll pan out in the financial services too. And somebody who gets like we have $68 trillion transferring generations from the baby boomers. The last baby boomer turned 65 in 2030. So there's $68 trillion passing from one generation to the next, and the realtors see it. Like I had to sell my mother's home when I was done. Well, now what do you do with all this money? Where can I put it to grow to serve my kids and grandkids? People don't know that answer, and they're being put into this, wonderful situation in a way, a hardship and, a turn of scenarios, if you will. What do they do with it? And that's where the realtors are seeing it and having that conversation. So somebody who's open-minded to learning and passing the information on to their agents.
So, Nancy, I'm going to ask you to repeat that just because I want to make sure we have a phenomenal soundbite for you from this. So, open that same thing up with a specific number and share what a phenomenal opportunity we have right now and talk about that transfer of wealth. And I'm thinking the language here is we have an unprecedented, phenomenal opportunity. Lead with that and then say the specifics that you just gave, because I want to have that as a soundbite from this that we can use for take it away.
Yeah, so 2030 marks something very interesting, which is the last of the baby boomers turned 65. And what we're seeing is the largest transfer of wealth in American history. $68 trillion is passing hands in the next 5 years. Realtors already have the conversation, they already have the trust. They probably are just missing how can we help the receiving family double or triple that, and in some cases even set up their children for a lifetime income based on that one sale.
Okay, what I'm missing for you saying right there is this is a phenomenal opportunity. Lead with this, a phenomenal opportunity. You don't have to do the whole thing like this. So just because I want to make sure that we can edit this and then have it be like, this is the most unprecedented, phenomenal opportunity that most people don't know about. Something like that because you're nailing it. I just want that opener because I'm imagining what I want to give you as an asset from today's show. Take it away.
Well, it's just a phenomenal opportunity right now in history and in financial services. There are $68 trillion being passed down to the next generation, and the realtors are the first ones to see it because the last baby boomer will turn 65 in 2030. And like with my mom, the houses have to be sold. So now what does this new family do with that wealth? Where do they place it? What do they do with it? And the realtor sees it first. So this is why when I say a realtor could double their income, it's just adding in financial services. You're there, you're seeing it. We can teach you how to take action.
Okay. And I'm stoked about storytelling, right? Obviously, because of books and things that I help people with Epic Author. So I'm listening for the sound bites here of the Who to help you, and I'm always taking notes on these calls. So your who you serve, and I sometimes get confused about the financial services and the realtor. And correct me if I'm wrong, this is going to be something that is throwing some of these brokers for a loop or a realtor for a loop because they're going to, hold on, I'm a realtor, I'm not in financial services. And what you're talking about here is if you could go ahead and work with brokers or realtors, both really, but your core audience here are brokers, you want to help them add a multiplier so they can double or more their income and what they're doing with their current activity. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Correct.
Okay. So typically I work with and who I want to meet are brokers that are open-minded who want to double the performance of their firm and of every realtor that they have working for them. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then what you're going to do is be working with them on the multiplier effect, this secret multiplier effect that most people don't know that they can access. And you have partners in all 50 states.
Yeah, and 54 countries.
And so all you need is a conversation to share with them the framework so that they can go ahead and just plug in their current client base into just additional services and things.
Yeah, it would start with the broker coming to a meeting at noon on Thursdays where we explain the business model.
Okay. So then let's go ahead and pull up my slides again so that we can wrap this up, girlfriend. So my understanding is one of the big wins for you, and when we can invite you back here, is I want to clarify the title of your book and make sure we get the success with your marketing and momentum with the conversations you have with brokers and realtors to go ahead and vet this out so that you can have multiple partnerships. Let's say at least two. if not more, partnerships with brokers and realtors that you can go ahead and either there. It sounds like there's multiple ways you can partner with them, but help them add a multiplier to their income and add something to how they're servicing their customers. How close am I?
Pretty close. I actually would like 10 a week, 10 relationships a week.
10 a week. Okay. So how about this? Okay, and when do you want to achieve #1 bestseller with your new book that we are just ideating right now? As far as I know, you have a lot of the content worked out here, but
I was hoping December.
okay, so December. So maybe by December, you've made some of this magic happen of like finding these partnerships and connections and things. So we have something to celebrate there. And that will be what will celebrate your book launch on the back of the new partnerships and commitment and financial success that you and they have. So how's that sound? We want to have success in new partners that you can help make it rain, and then the success of your #1 bestseller. And just so everybody understands, we recommend at Epic Author, and I'm the founder of that company. We've been running the publishing company now for 10 years. What I like to help you do, in this case, Nancy, is create success with her new book subject, and find that in the marketplace with your new idea before we release the book. And there's phenomenal companies, there's these billion-dollar companies like Apple or Tesla or something like that, and they go, hey, we have this new thing coming. Yeah, like I believe Nancy's a visionary, and she's sharing her dream with you about who she's trying to help and why she thinks this is important. And Nancy, it's an honor to have you here, and it's an honor to work with people who care as much as you do about the people that you're trying to serve, and that you have a vehicle to help them do it. I want to invite you back once we have evidence of this new super success with this venture, and we'll have you back in the next 60 days to 6 months, whatever it takes. Let's go ahead and have like a big win for you to celebrate how you made this magic happen. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap up today's show?
No, just a blessing to be here and to share the story and to see women have an easier way of funding themselves. And the book is just full of hilarious stories. These realtors, what they go through. So I'm excited to share the stories and thankful to be here.
We should probably make sure that anybody who goes to the QR code that's on the screen, or go to epic.media/Nancy Lucas, and you can book a call with Nancy. I know you've got some different gifts that you're giving away there. But Nancy, if you can share some of the stories and some of the tips and things and how you help people, then that's going to be another great way to build connection and rapport with this audience. So please go to epic.media/Nancy Lucas, or use your little QR code thing there. And Nancy will have you back to celebrate some of these successes. Maybe somebody watching right now is going to go connect with Nancy. Let's make it rain. And then we'll have you on the show as well to go ahead and share with us how you made that happen. Nancy, thanks for being here. I can't wait to have you back here soon. And Len, I know we've got a hard stop. We're a minute or so over the top of the hour. If you're checking us out on either YouTube or LinkedIn, I think that's right now where we're live, remember to go to jointrevor.com, and you can join the live conversation. And Nancy, oftentimes we'll go behind the scenes after we stop the live stream, and then we can answer questions and things. Oh, God, I hate to do this. I know I have a hard stop. Let me just check with Len. Len, I know we've got someone in the waiting room. Do we have anybody, were there any questions that we should address with Nancy right now, or should we just invite her back to address questions, or we can just talk to me, because I know I'm late.
Yeah, we have comments in LinkedIn, but it's not a question. So it's from Peter.
Okay. You have comments from Peter. Let's hear it, because let's give Peter some love if he said something on LinkedIn. What do you think?
Yeah. So he said, you were in your mid-40s. My goodness, you look like you're just 40. I'm gay and a feminist, and you look fabulous and incredibly smart. As someone who has had similar experiences, I appreciate that you contacted me, and I would like to set aside time to speak with you. Thank you for getting in touch.
Well, Nancy, sounds like Peter's the man. Okay, and what a nice compliment. I said how pretty you look too. And look at the beautiful picture you gave me for this little QR code stuff that we put. That's a great picture. I love this one.
I had a great photographer.
Well, you're a good model. All right. Well, thanks for being here. Len, we can go ahead and pause the live, but anybody who wants to join our next live studio audience, go to jointrevor.com and you can do that. And then I can't wait to help you make it rain. And I think we have another podcast coming up a few hours later today. We also have a schedule on jointrevor.com so you can see when we're going live each week, and can't wait to connect with you soon and help you make it rain. Bye, guys. See you later. And Len, let's not